What happens when Korea's coldest CEO meets a translator who refuses to be intimidated? From their first explosive encounter where she corrects his English mistakes in front of investors, to the moment his father jokes about making her his personal assistant, this love story will have you on the edge of your seat. Watch as jealousy consumes him every time she smiles at another man, as he struggles between his professional pride and his growing obsession, and as one confession at an elegant gala changes everything. This isn't just a romance, it's a collision of cultures, a battle of wills, and proof that love recognizes no boundaries. Get ready for stolen glances, protective gestures, and a love confession that will make your heart race. He's a ruthless, icy CEO. She's a bold Black American interpreter. One office, one collision, and suddenly professionalism goes out the window. Grab your favorite drink and settle in for this captivating love journey. Maya smoothed her jacket anxiously as she walked into the towering glass building in Gangnam. Seoul felt foreign to her, and this position could define her entire career, a Black American interpreter from New York, brought in to assist one of Korea's most formidable young CEOs with a critical international merger. When she pushed open the conference room door, every head swiveled in her direction. At the table's center sat Park Ji-young. Immaculate charcoal suit, razor-sharp features, eyes that seemed capable of extinguishing flames with a single glance. He barely acknowledged her presence. "You're behind schedule," he stated coldly. Maya bristled. "Actually, I'm precisely on time." He lifted an eyebrow, thoroughly unimpressed. "Then take your seat and remain silent unless I require your input." The presentation commenced and Ji-young transitioned to English. Initially, he projected confidence, but gradually his errors became apparent. Rather than saying negotiations, he said navigations. Instead of stakeholders, he said stickholders. The foreign executives exchanged puzzled glances. Maya leaned toward him, whispering, "Unless we're discussing gardening equipment, you mean stakeholders and negotiations." His posture stiffened, his neck flushing crimson. "Simply interpret," he muttered tersely. But as he continued speaking, Maya found herself intervening repeatedly. Her genuine warmth and intelligent phrasing captivated the executives effortlessly. The room filled with appreciative laughter at her remarks, while Ji-young's expression grew increasingly tense. By the meeting's conclusion, the clients were greeting Maya more enthusiastically than him. She smiled graciously, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within him. Why did her radiant smile toward them bother him so intensely? Why did he resent how naturally she connected with people? The following morning, Maya arrived ahead of schedule, determined not to give Park Ji-young another excuse for criticism. She practiced respectful Korean phrases quietly as she entered the lobby. But when she stepped into the elevator, she stopped breathing momentarily. He was already there, arms folded, expression impossible to read. "You're ahead of schedule," he observed flatly. "You're still insufferable," she responded before thinking. His mouth twitched, almost forming a smile, but he quickly suppressed it. The day overflowed with back-to-back meetings. In the first session, Ji-young attempted English again. "We must all stick on this matter." Maya stifled her amusement. "Stick with, Mr. Park," she corrected seamlessly for the clients. By the third meeting, she'd established a rhythm. He spoke, she interpreted, and when he stumbled, she cleverly transformed his mistakes into humor that delighted the room. The international partners adored her, but Ji-young, his jaw clenched tighter each time they responded to her words rather than his. During the lunch interval, he cornered her in the corridor. "You're relishing this, aren't you?" "Relishing what?" she asked, eyebrow raised. "Making me appear incompetent." Maya laughed outright. "Oh, you don't require my assistance for that. Your English handles it perfectly well." His eyes darkened dangerously. For the first time, Maya experienced a shiver, not from intimidation, but something entirely different. His stare lingered excessively long, excessively intense. The week progressed, and every meeting followed the same pattern. Maya sat alongside Ji-young, interpreting flawlessly, infusing her natural enthusiasm that lightened the atmosphere considerably. The investors responded positively, nodded agreement, and directed questions toward her, even when Ji-young occupied the room. One investor chuckled after she made a joke about cross-cultural communication challenges. "Your interpreter is exceptional, Mr. Park. She clarifies everything beautifully." Ji-young forced a courteous smile. Internally, his pride fractured. He was the CEO. Why did it feel like she commanded the spotlight? After the meeting concluded, he walked briskly, hands buried in pockets, his face unreadable. Maya jogged to match his pace. You should express gratitude, she teased. Without me, they'd still be confused about your stickholders and navigations. He halted abruptly, causing her to nearly collide with him. His eyes were piercing, but his voice emerged softer than before. Do you always smile that way for everyone? Maya blinked in confusion. Excuse me? That laughter, those gestures, do you rehearse them, or are they reserved for the investors? Her lips curved into a playful grin. Why are you envious, Mr. Park? He looked away, his ears betraying him with a telltale reddish tint. Don't delude yourself. I simply want them focused on business, not you. But even as he spoke those words, he remembered how her eyes sparkled when she laughed, and how the entire room seemed to illuminate around her. That night, Ji-young sat in his office staring blankly at the meeting minutes. His hand froze when he realized he'd been unconsciously sketching her smile in the margins. The following week, the office hummed with anticipation. A major contract neared completion, and everyone seemed enchanted by Maya. Her courteous greetings, melodious laughter, and thoughtful gestures made even the most serious staff members smile. Ji-young observed everything. One afternoon, he passed the strategy department and froze. Maya was leaning over a desk, assisting a young male associate with English pronunciation. She laughed gently when he mispronounced something, touching his shoulder encouragingly. Ji-young's chest constricted. Why was she smiling at him like that? He strode over, his shoes clicking sharply against the tile. Miss Maya, he said coolly, do you intend to conduct English lessons here, or do you still recall your actual responsibilities? The room fell silent. The young associate quickly excused himself, leaving Maya staring at the CEO. You didn't need to frighten him away, she muttered. He was wasting your time, Ji-young replied, voice controlled but eyes blazing. And why does that concern you? Maya challenged. For a moment, his carefully constructed mask slipped. He looked at her as though he couldn't answer his own question. Then he straightened, his tone returning to its characteristic coldness. Because you work for me, not them. That evening, during yet another investor dinner, Ji-young barely registered a single word spoken. All he could visualize was Maya's smile from earlier, except it hadn't been directed at him. When the investors raised their glasses to Maya, proclaiming her the company's secret weapon, Ji-young gripped his wine glass until it nearly shattered. The subsequent week, Maya's popularity throughout the office only intensified. Staff members frequently stopped by her workspace, requesting English assistance or simply to hear her cheerful voice. To her, it represented harmless friendliness. To Park Ji-young, it was unbearable. One afternoon, she balanced a stack of files while heading toward the meeting room. Just as she pushed the glass door, a junior employee rushed past, nearly knocking her off balance. The documents slipped from her grasp. Before they could hit the floor, Ji-young's hand shot out, catching them skillfully. He stood close, his tall frame casting a shadow over her. You should exercise more caution, he said firmly, his voice low. Maya blinked, startled. Thank you, but that was unexpected. Why? Because you don't typically rescue people. You just reprimand them. For a moment, his lips twitched as if he might smile, but then he quickly handed her the files, his expression returning to stone. Don't anticipate it happening again. Later, during a client presentation, when an investor joked a bit too warmly about Maya's charm, Ji-young cut in sharply, redirecting the conversation back to business. Maya frowned at him, puzzled. That night, alone in his office, he leaned back in his chair, replaying the moment her eyes widened when he caught her documents. Why did he care so deeply? Why couldn't he tolerate seeing her laugh with anyone else? As he closed his laptop, his assistant knocked. Sir, tomorrow's charity gala. The investor specifically requested that Miss Maya accompany you. Ji-young's hand froze. Accompany him? The evening of the gala arrived, and Maya stepped out of the car in an elegant midnight blue gown that shimmered under the hotel lights. For a moment, time seemed to pause. Cameras flashed and heads turned. Ji-young, standing by the entrance in his tailored tuxedo, genuinely lost his breath. He'd seen her in business attire and blazers, but never like this. His chest tightened, though his face remained unreadable. "You clean up nicely," Maya teased lightly as she approached. His eyes flickered over her, then away. "Don't expect compliments regularly." Inside the grand ballroom, investors and business elite mingled, sipping champagne. Yet it was Maya who drew them in. Her natural charisma, her laughter, her ability to bridge cultural divides made her the focal point. Ji-young stayed close, monitoring every man who dared linger too long near her. When one investor offered to refresh her glass, Ji-young smoothly stepped forward, taking it instead. "She's fine. I'll take care of it." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Are you my boss or my security detail?" He leaned closer, voice low. "Both, apparently." The music shifted to a slow classical melody. A guest asked Maya for a dance, but before she could respond, Ji-young's hand closed gently around hers. "She's with me." Maya's heart skipped. His tone was firm, but his eyes, they revealed something else entirely. On the dance floor, with hundreds watching, Ji-young held her close. For the first time, his cold mask slipped, and when their eyes locked, the air between them grew so thick it was almost suffocating. His hand rested firmly at her waist, her hand light against his shoulder. They moved in rhythm, but their eyes were locked in silent conversation. Neither could escape. Maya tried to laugh it off. "You don't seem like someone who enjoys dancing." "I don't," he replied softly. "But right now, I don't object." Her heart thundered. Was that almost a smile on his lips? Around them, whispers spread. The cold, untouchable CEO dancing, smiling with his interpreter. It was a scene no one in Seoul's elite circles would forget. As the song swelled, Maya felt the air grow heavy. The distance between them shrank until her breath caught. For a second, it seemed inevitable, the moment where something would shatter between them. But just as Ji-young leaned closer, a voice cut through. "Mr. Park." His secretary appeared at the edge of the floor, face tense. "Your father has arrived." The music continued, but reality crashed back in. Ji-young's jaw tightened. His father, the man who controlled half the corporation, rarely appeared at events without purpose. Maya stepped back, sensing the shift. "You should go," she whispered. For the first time, Ji-young hesitated, his hand lingering on hers longer than necessary. As he turned toward the entrance, his father stood waiting, his sharp gaze fixed on Maya, as if he already understood too much. The older man's presence alone commanded silence. Even the investors bowed slightly as he passed. "Father," Ji-young greeted with controlled respect. Mr. Park's eyes flicked from his son to Maya, who stood a few steps behind, clutching her purse. His gaze lingered on her longer than expected, not cold, not harsh, but calculating. "So this is the interpreter," he said finally. "The one everyone discusses." Maya straightened politely. "It's an honor to meet you, sir." Mr. Park's lips curved into something close to a smile. "Interesting. Very interesting." He turned back to Ji-young. "Bring her to the estate. I want to know more about her." The words landed like a hammer. Ji-young's heart skipped. His father never invited outsiders into their private world. Not employees, not even close friends. "Father," Ji-young began, but was cut off by a firm hand on his shoulder. "Tomorrow evening," Mr. Park said calmly, leaving no room for negotiation. "Don't disappoint me." When he walked away, the ballroom noise returned, but everything felt different. Ji-young stood frozen, his mind racing. Beside him, Maya whispered, half amused, half worried. "Did your dad just invite me over?" Ji-young looked at her, conflicted. He didn't know if this was an opportunity or the beginning of trouble. The Park family estate was intimidating, walls lined with priceless art, guards at the gate, and staff moving like clockwork. Maya followed Ji-young inside, her heels clicking against the floor. But instead of fear, she wore her brightest smile. At the long dining table, Mr. Park sat at the head like a king. His sharp eyes softened the moment Maya bowed politely and greeted him. "So, you're the interpreter everyone praises," he said, studying her. "I must admit, you're not what I expected." Maya tilted her head. "Should I be offended or flattered, sir?" For the first time that evening, the old man chuckled, a deep, unexpected laugh. Even Ji-young looked stunned. Through dinner, Maya answered his questions with wit and honesty, making him laugh again when she described how Ji-young sulked during English practice. Mr. Park's gaze flicked between them, amusement dancing in his eyes. You know, Miss Maya, my son has never brought a woman here before. Are you certain you're just his interpreter? Maya almost choked on her water. Aya, we're just colleagues, sir. Mr. Park leaned back with a smirk. Colleagues, you say? Then perhaps I should hire you as my personal assistant instead. At least you make me laugh. The table went silent. Maya's eyes widened, unsure if he was joking, while Ji-young nearly dropped his chopsticks. Mr. Park's laughter echoed through the room, but Ji-young's jaw tightened. Was his father teasing or testing something deeper? The ride back from the estate was quiet at first. Ji-young's grip on the steering wheel was tighter than usual, his jaw set. Maya, however, leaned back comfortably, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. You know, she began, breaking the silence, your father is surprisingly warm, much more than you. Ji-young's head snapped toward her before focusing back on the road. What's that supposed to mean? Maya grinned mischievously. I mean, he laughed at my jokes, asked about my family, and even offered to hire me. She stifled a laugh. Meanwhile, you just scowl at me all day. Ji-young almost swerved. Yeah, don't repeat that nonsense. He was teasing. His voice was sharp, but his ears burned red. Maya leaned closer, studying his flustered face. Are you jealous? Because your dad likes me more than you do? His grip on the wheel tightened. Why would I be jealous? You're my interpreter. Not, he stopped himself, words hanging heavy in the air. Maya smirked. Not what? Ji-young exhaled sharply, refusing to answer. The silence grew thick, filled only by the hum of the car engine. But deep inside, Ji-young couldn't shake the image of Maya laughing with his father. And for the first time, he realized her smile could make any man fall for her. Maya, noticing his brooding expression, whispered with a teasing smile, Careful, Mr. Park, I think I prefer your father. Back at the office, Maya returned to her usual routine. But something had shifted. She caught Ji-young watching her more often, his sharp eyes narrowing whenever a male colleague stopped by her desk. When Mr. Kim from accounting leaned in to ask Maya about a document, she flashed him her brightest smile. Of course, I'll help you with that. From across the room, Ji-young's pen snapped in half. Moments later, he appeared out of nowhere. Maya, I need you in my office. Now. Maya followed, trying not to laugh. Inside, Ji-young shut the door with unnecessary force. Why do you smile at everyone like that? He demanded. Maya raised a brow, feigning innocence. What? I was just being polite. Polite? Ji-young muttered, pacing. It looked like flirting to me. She leaned on his desk, tilting her head with a teasing grin. Are you jealous again? His ears turned red instantly. No, he stopped, fumbling for words. Maya bit her lip, clearly enjoying his frustration. Relax, Mr. CEO. It's not like I'm your girlfriend. Ji-young froze, staring at her with something raw in his eyes. Maya caught it, but chose not to press further. Instead, she walked out, leaving him in silence. Alone in his office, Ji-young clenched his fists. For the first time, he wondered if he didn't stop her teasing, would another man steal her away for real? The next morning, Ji-young walked into the office with extra confidence. His suit was sharper than usual, his tie perfectly aligned. He even adjusted his watch twice just to make sure it caught the light. Maya noticed immediately. Wow, she teased. Did someone wake up on the runway today? He cleared his throat. A CEO should set standards. Later, during a meeting with foreign investors, Ji-young spoke in flawless English, every word crisp, every sentence rehearsed. He didn't need Maya's help. But she sat beside him anyway, watching with a mischievous smile. When the investors clapped politely, Ji-young threw her a quick, proud glance, expecting praise. Instead, Maya leaned close and whispered, Not bad, but your dad still speaks better than you. Ji-young almost choked on his water. The investors noticed his sudden cough, and Maya quickly jumped in, charming them with her own easy laughter. The room warmed instantly, everyone responding to her glow. By the end of the meeting, the investors were complimenting Maya more than Ji-young. One even said, You make business feel enjoyable. Ji-young forced a smile, but his jaw twitched. Back in his office, he finally snapped. Why do you always do that? You make me look human, Maya interrupted with a grin. He froze, staring at her. For a moment, He wasn't sure if she was teasing or saying something deeper. Maya gave him a playful wink before walking out, leaving Jijong speechless. For the first time, he wasn't sure who was in control anymore. The next morning, the office buzzed as usual, but something felt different. Instead of his usual cold stare, Jiyoung appeared at Maya's desk holding 2 cups of coffee. "Here," he said flatly, setting one in front of her. Maya blinked in shock. "Wait, you bought coffee for me?" "You interpret better when you're not exhausted," he muttered, looking away. Her lips curved into a slow smile. "Wow, Mr. CEO is suddenly thoughtful. What's next? Flowers?" He shot her a glare, but his ears betrayed him, turning red. Later, during a lunch break with colleagues, Jiyoung did the unthinkable. He joined them. The staff went silent as he sat beside Maya, casually placing food on her plate. "You should eat more," he said simply. Maya nearly dropped her chopsticks. "Are you feeling sick?" she whispered. The colleagues exchanged shocked glances, whispering among themselves. Jiyoung ignored them, keeping his calm CEO face, but inside his heart was pounding. When Maya leaned closer, studying him suspiciously, he asked softly, "Can't I be friendly for once?" Her teasing smile faltered. For the first time, she didn't know if he was joking or being genuine. Before she could answer, one of the male colleagues spoke up, laughing nervously. "Careful, Maya. At this rate, the boss might fall in love with you." The table froze. Jiyoung's chopsticks stopped midair. Maya laughed it off, waving her chopsticks. "Huh?" As if. "He barely even smiles." The staff chuckled, and the moment passed for everyone but Jiyoung. Back in his office, he sat behind his desk staring at his untouched reports. The joke replayed again and again. Fall in love with her? Ridiculous. Impossible. Yet when Maya entered with a stack of translated documents, her warm smile made his chest tighten. "You seem distracted," she said, tilting her head. "Did the joke bother you?" He looked up sharply. "Why would it bother me?" She smirked, leaning on his desk. "Because you've been sulking since lunch. Admit it, you didn't like it." Jiyoung stood abruptly, closing the space between them. His voice dropped lower, almost a whisper. "What if it wasn't a joke?" Maya froze, her playful smile faltering. "What do you mean?" For a moment, his eyes softened, almost vulnerable, but then he stepped back, shaking his head. "Forget it. Get back to work." Maya walked out, her heart beating faster than she expected. She told herself it was just his mind games. But deep down, a dangerous thought bloomed. What if he meant it? For the next few days, Maya pretended nothing happened. Whenever she remembered Jiyoung's whisper, "What if it wasn't a joke?" she shook her head and laughed at herself. "He's just messing with me," she thought. "He doesn't get jealous. He doesn't like me." But Jijing's behavior said otherwise. He hovered more than usual, showing up whenever she talked to someone else. If a colleague lingered too long by her desk, Jiyoung would suddenly call her into his office. It all came to a head one afternoon. Mr. Kim from accounting strolled over with a confident smile. He leaned casually on her desk. "Maya, you brighten this whole office. How about dinner this weekend?" Maya blinked, caught off guard. She opened her mouth to politely decline, but before she could speak, a sudden chill spread through the room. Jiyoung was standing there. His expression was sharp, his voice like ice. "Mr. Kim, is this how you spend company hours, flirting with staff instead of doing your job?" Mr. Kim froze, his smile fading. Sir, I didn't mean enough," Jiyoung cut him off, his cold gaze making the whole office fall silent. "If you have time to chase women during work, maybe you don't belong here." The atmosphere grew suffocating. Mr. Kim stammered an apology and quickly retreated, leaving Maya staring at her boss in shock. She lowered her voice. "You didn't have to humiliate him like that." Jiyoung finally turned to her, his jaw tight, his eyes unreadable. "I don't tolerate distractions around you." Maya's heart skipped. "Distractions?" His gaze softened for just a second. "Yes, because I can't accept that." The office incident spread quickly. Whispers followed Maya everywhere. But what bothered her more was the way Jiyoung avoided eye contact afterward, as if nothing had happened. Later that evening, she went to his office to drop off translated documents. The room was quiet, the city lights glowing through the tall windows. She placed the files on his desk. "Here are the reports." He glanced up, his voice clipped. "Thank you." The silence stretched. Maya tilted her head, studying him. His jaw was tight again, his pen tapping against the desk. She couldn't resist. "Do you know what you looked like today?" she asked softly. His brows drew together. "What do you mean?" She leaned closer, her lips twitching into a playful smile. "A jealous boyfriend." Ji-young froze. The pen slipped from his hand, landing on the desk with a faint thud. His eyes locked on hers, sharp yet vulnerable. "Say that again," he murmured. Maya blinked, taken aback by the intensity in his tone. She laughed nervously, waving her hands. "I was just teasing. Don't take it seriously." But Ji-young's gaze didn't soften. If anything, he looked even more conflicted, as though she had peeled back a layer he was trying to hide. Ji-young's phone buzzed that morning. "A reminder, your father's birthday is tonight. Bring your interpreter." He groaned. His father's social events were always lavish, filled with influential people and endless small talk. And now he had to bring Maya. Maya, dressed in a sleek burgundy gown that complemented her glowing skin, arrived at Ji-young's penthouse for the ride. She glanced in the rearview mirror. "You seem nervous," she teased. "I'm not nervous," he muttered, though his fingers fidgeted on the steering wheel. "It's just my father." By the time they arrived at the grand hall, the party was in full swing. Chandeliers sparkled, waiters carried trays of champagne, and guests mingled in designer attire. The moment they walked in, Ji-young's father, Mr. Park, spotted them. His face lit up with pride. "Everyone," he boomed, clapping his hands. "Meet Maya, the remarkable woman who works with my son." The crowd turned, exchanging impressed looks. Ji-young's father took Maya's hand and guided her around, introducing her to friends and colleagues, laughing and proudly sharing stories of her accomplishments. Maya laughed along, charming everyone effortlessly. Her warm smile and witty remarks drew compliments from every corner. Ji-young felt a strange tug in his chest, a mix of pride, admiration, and a sharp twist of jealousy. His father seemed so pleased with her, praising her in front of all these people, while Ji-young felt invisible. He clenched his jaw, trying not to show it. But every laugh, every compliment, every proud smile directed at her made his chest tighten in a way he didn't expect. As Maya leaned in to talk to one of the guests, Ji-young's father looked at his son and winked, clearly enjoying the dynamic. Ji-young's fingers curled into fists at his sides. He had never felt so conflicted in a room full of people. The party was in full swing. Maya moved gracefully through the crowd, chatting with guests, laughing at jokes, and charming everyone with ease. Ji-young's father watched her proudly while Ji-young stood quietly at the side, a tight line on his lips. Every time Maya leaned toward another male guest, Ji-young felt a sharp pang of jealousy. His father caught him staring and chuckled, whispering, "I know you like her, but don't waste time. Someone might steal her tonight. She's stealing all the attention." Ji-young clenched his fists subtly, trying not to make a scene. But every laugh, every compliment she received twisted something deep inside him. Finally, he decided to act. When Maya was about to pour herself a drink, Ji-young appeared beside her, his arm brushing lightly against hers. "May I?" he asked smoothly, taking the bottle and pouring her glass himself. Maya looked up at him, eyebrow raised, clearly surprised by his sudden closeness. "Oh, thank you," she said, a teasing glint in her eye. "You're welcome," he replied, his tone calm, but his eyes locking onto hers, sharp as ever. Later, a male guest tried to start a conversation with Maya about a charity initiative. Ji-young stepped in, standing slightly closer, his hand brushing against hers in the most subtle yet possessive way. Maya noticed, but didn't pull away. Instead, she gave him a playful smirk. "You're quite protective tonight." He narrowed his eyes, voice low. "Someone has to make sure no one steals what's mine." Her heart skipped. The guests nearby seemed oblivious, but Maya felt the tension and thrill in his words. She laughed softly, shaking her head, unsure whether to be amused or flustered. As Ji-young's father approached to toast the evening, he glanced at his son and winked knowingly. Ji-young's jaw clenched. He realized tonight jealousy and pride were battling for control over his heart. He stepped closer, placing a subtle hand near hers as she reached for a glass of champagne. Their fingers brushed ever so slightly, and Maya looked up, meeting his intense gaze. "You're enjoying the spotlight," he said, voice low. She smirked, teasing. Not as much as you are. Before things could get more awkward, Mr. Park clapped his hands loudly. Everyone a toast to family, friends, and the wonderful Maya, who has captured my son's attention more than any business deal ever could. The guests cheered, glasses raised. Ji-young's ears turned red, and Maya laughed softly, both amused and slightly embarrassed. As the toast ended, Maya's eyes met Ji-young's. In that fleeting moment, neither could deny the unspoken tension and the question hanging in the air, was this still just admiration or something more? The party had quieted down. Guests mingled in smaller groups, and the golden chandeliers reflected softly on polished floors. Ji-young approached her silently, hands in his pockets, jaw tight. Every step seemed deliberate, carrying an intensity she hadn't seen before. Maya, he said, his voice low, almost a growl. She turned, meeting his eyes, feeling a shiver of anticipation. He began, hesitating, as if trying to fight his own words. I can't hide it anymore. Maya blinked, startled. Can't hide what? She asked softly, unsure of what to expect. Ji-young took a deep breath. I like you more than I should, more than I can admit at work. And seeing you laugh, charm everyone, I can't stand it when anyone else notices you like I do. Her mouth fell slightly open. She had never expected him to confess so boldly, so honestly. He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a private, intense tone. I know I shouldn't. I know I'm your boss, but I can't help it. I care about you more than anyone else in this company, and I don't want to hide it anymore. Maya's heart pounded. She could feel his sincerity, the raw honesty in his eyes. Her mind raced. This was the man who had been so cold, so composed, yet now he was vulnerable before her. She swallowed hard, words caught in her throat. The room felt suddenly smaller, their own private world among the distant chatter of the party. Maya's heart raced as she tried to organize her thoughts. Ji-young's confession still echoed in her mind, bold, sincere, and completely unexpected. I didn't know, she finally whispered, her voice trembling slightly. I mean, I never thought you felt this way. Ji-young's intense gaze softened. I know. I tried to hide it, but seeing you every day laughing, helping everyone, I can't ignore it anymore. And I don't want to. Maya looked down at her hands, unsure whether to smile or step back. Her emotions were a whirlwind, surprise, nervous excitement, and something warm blooming in her chest. Ji-young, she began, taking a small, cautious step closer. I think I feel the same way. His eyes widened slightly, relief and happiness flickering in them. He took a careful step toward her, closing the distance just enough for them to feel the warmth of each other's presence. For a brief moment, the world around them disappeared. The glittering chandeliers, the distant laughter of guests, even his father's proud gaze all faded. There was only the space between them, charged with unspoken emotion. He reached out slowly, his hand brushing hers lightly. Maya didn't pull away. Instead, she allowed the touch, feeling a spark she hadn't expected. Ji-young's lips curved into a gentle, satisfied smile. So we're officially admitting it, he murmured. Maya laughed softly, a mix of relief and amusement. I guess we are. As they stood there, hands almost touching, Ji-young's father approached with a knowing grin. Finally. Took you long enough, son, he teased, making both of them blush. The party had ended, leaving behind only the soft echo of music and the twinkling chandeliers. Guests had gone home, and the grand hall was nearly empty. Maya and Ji-young walked together toward the exit, their footsteps the only sound on the polished marble floor. Maya glanced at him, her heart still fluttering from the earlier confession. Thank you for tonight, for everything, she said softly. Ji-young looked at her, his expression gentle yet intense. You don't have to thank me, he murmured. I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to hide it anymore, especially from you. They reached the sleek black car waiting outside. The night air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of Seoul's streets. Ji-young held the door open for Maya, but instead of stepping in, she hesitated. He tilted his head, noticing. What is it? She smiled shyly. I just want a moment with you. His eyes softened, and without a word he took her hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. The simple gesture sent a shiver through her. For the first time, the city's noises, the responsibilities, even the office and the party, all of it faded. They walked a few steps in silence, letting the moment stretch. Finally, Ji-young stopped and looked down at her. "I've wanted this for a long time," he admitted. "To be near you. Not just at work, but like this." Maya's cheeks flushed. "Me too," she whispered. They lingered there, hands still intertwined, the city lights reflecting in their eyes. A quiet understanding passed between them. Tonight marked the start of something new, something deeper than either had dared to imagine. As they finally stepped into the car, a small, playful voice called from the side. "Let's make it official, you two." It was Ji-young's father, winking knowingly, leaving them both laughing and blushing. In the quiet of that night, under Seoul's shimmering lights, Maya and Ji-young held hands and realized something simple yet powerful. They had found each other. Through laughter, jealousy, and countless unexpected moments, they had discovered a love that was daring, honest, and unshakable. And as they looked into each other's eyes, the world felt smaller, brighter, and entirely theirs. Thank you so much for watching. I'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new to our channel, please tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to get to know you. And if you loved this story, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps us creating these stories. This is Afro Soul Melanin Stories, where every heartbeat tells a story.